Good evening, everybody. I'll take my headphones off now since I'm not listening to anything. That's right, Jerry. Go Chiefs. Be a big game tomorrow. Can't wait. It ought to be iconic. How about old freaking Patrick Mahomes, too? He got MVP again. I don't know if it's again, but he got MVP nonetheless. Good evening, Mike. Hey, my chat is actually working today. That's fantastic. So did you happen to see Cletus McFarland's latest giveaway? My boys up in Kansas City built him a old body style Tahoe 2-door with a LT4 and a 10-speed. Man, that thing is sweet. I might actually enter that contest. There's a couple of them out there I'd like to enter. Papa needs a new truck. Need to get Bertha done, but things are what they are right now. So anyway, so I boogied out to a friend of mine's back in the backwoods down here, and he had to put a 6L80 in his Tahoe. His original one actually gave out at 168,000 miles, which I told him, he says, you got your life out of that one, because they usually don't last that long. Usually they're only good till 70, 80,000 before they try to crap out. So I told him, I says, man, you did pretty good. So I wouldn't complain much. Of course, I think it's after about 17 that they started having real problems with them. At least that's the ones that we see. Most everything else is out of warranty, and they won't bring it back to the dealership to get it repaired. This dealership will just end up putting one in a box because you get a warranty with it. But yeah, killer performance up in Kansas City, my stomping grounds. They built a 96 2-door Tahoe, and old Garrett's got it. Cletus McFarland, I should say, has got it up as their next giveaway vehicle. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's beautiful too. It's teal green. Of course, I can't stand tan interior, but original miles, only 56,000 miles on this thing. It was a California truck, so there's no rust on it. Man, you can't beat that. Just got to go to CletusMcFarland.com and buy something. I guess he said every $5 spent gets you an entry for the Tahoe. Man, that'd be the best $5 you'd ever spend, especially if you want it. Oh, you get 10 grand in cash on top of that. I thought that was pretty slick. So anyway, everybody's getting ready for Sick Week next week. That's the Drag and Drive event that they got down here. A lot of your popular guys are going to be at it. KSR Fabrication, the Boosted Boys. Well, there's a couple others that you'd probably recognize. Motion Race Works is going to be there. Of course, Cletus McFarland's going to be there with a couple of cars. He and his team. Steve Morse is going to be there. Of course, Steve Morse built an engine for whatever they call the yellow Camaro. I can't remember that Cletus has got, that jack stand blew the motor up in. They've got an engine for that one, and of course they did a refresh on Mullet's engine, and right out of the trailer that thing's chooching down the track. So, I mean, you can't, I mean, the guy definitely knows how to build an engine. I'd like to be able to do one of those drag and drive events. I've never won anything on it because I don't have the money to go as fast as these guys go. But it'd be a lot of fun to do it and get somebody to go with me. They've got the one Rocky Mountain Race Week up there. That's another big one. I don't know if Cletus is doing that one this year, but I like to watch them guys. It's pretty cool. But anywho, so what's new in the world? I've only got 3 of you out there. So speak up. Don't be quiet. I've got a headache. Oh, it's practically rained all day here. It's been kind of wet and miserable. Not miserable. Oh, let me tell you. So our winter down here in Florida was really light this year, which kind of worries me to what the summer's going to be like. And everything is starting to bloom down here. And holy cow, is the pollen bad. I don't think my eyes have ever itched as bad as they do this year. I mean, they itch like nobody's business. They've just been watered left and right. And it's usually right down in here that they itch. You can tell they're a little bit red, but not bad. But wow, I mean, the pollen is just thick. And we got that, hey, there's all the, see, my chat's been doing that funny crap again. I just moved it around and now it's working again. So apparently you got, I didn't know you guys were chatting something because it wasn't showing up in my box. So I'm gonna read them here. Jerry's out there. Hello from Indianapolis. Mike says, sweet. One giveaway win is the Powerball. Yeah, I'd love to win the Powerball. Piece of bass boat all over the place. Danny, sup? What's happening, brother? A 99 Tahoe used to pull my camper. Yeah, my dad had a 99 Tahoe. I guess if that little blue thing's at the bottom, the chat doesn't work right. AccuLink TPS mount. I have not, but I'm sure it's something they use for putting a carburetor and still have an electronic throttle position sensor. Doing FI to carb bracket to hold the TPS, right? Jerry, I seem to remember one of the quadra jets, one of the computer controlled quadra jets, did use a throttle position sensor. Ice 2427. Hey, what's up, brother? Haven't seen you on here for a while. Had to go to Michigan today. Yay. If I had a car, man, I just like the drivability of the fuel injection. It's so much easier. I mean, just hop in the key, turn the key, and go. Any more carbs, pretty primitive. You know, if it was me and I was going to switch to a different deal, I'd do one of those Holly Sniper uh, throttle body kits. I don't know if you can call Quadrajet anymore, Jerry, and it would have been a Rochester division because that's who made it. Rottenchester. Well, Jerry, there's a reason why there's all those intakes and stuff out there in the yards because nobody else wants them either. Um, I don't know. They have their place. I guess I'm new enough school where I like the fuel injection, but I don't like all the new stuff that's coming out. Um, Prime example, they've come up with a new architecture on these new cars. They call it a VIP platform, and it's not what you think it stands for. Uh, but it has to do with the new vehicles. The communications on the new vehicles are digital. Supposed to be much faster, much better responding, and much more of a pain in the ass to fix. Nice. 29 Model A. There you go. Oh, there you go, Mike. You know, there's a uh, guy that goes to my church. He used to own a salvage yard for many years. He retired, and he was telling me some stories about it. And just some of the stuff that he was telling me is just crazy. But you're a junkyard fool, Jerry. Nah, you shouldn't talk to yourself like that. Just that you enjoy getting a deal and gives you something to do, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, I got plenty to do the way it is. But anyway, so I got one more video I'm editing for next week on the. In fact, I'm gonna get out of that right now. Um, Part 7 of the Suburban build, and then that will be it. And I'm going to start working on some other projects. I do have 2 more transmissions that I did record building, but I'm sure everybody's burnout is everything on them. I don't know. I may show you this one because this one is probably the most expensive 4L70 that I've ever built. Uses a lot of Sonex goodies. In fact, the customer wanted the hardened input shell. They call it the Smart Tech input housing and hardened input shell. Plus, it's one of those that it's kind of a hybrid transmission. The case is a 2003, I think, case. But he had to have 2006 and up electronics, which means it has an input speed sensor. But I wanted a pump that you still uses the outer O-ring instead of the funky seal that they come with for the new one. So I had the guys at Chicago make me a pump that would work, and I got everything together on it. The thing is beautiful. I'm tickled with it. chicken tacos. I had I had chicken ranch wraps for lunch pretty much all this week. Hey, if you're out there and while you're out there, while we're on, since I'm up here looking at it, if you're out there, give me a thumbs up on that like button if you would, please. I would greatly appreciate it. Um, Help the YouTube algorithm pick up on some more of this stuff and get me out there. I crested 3,500 subscribers, which I'm still floored that I've got that many. I wish I could get more people to watch the videos and like them and share them and stuff, though. But I'm not great at promoting these things. I just put them out there because it's something I enjoy to do, and it kind of keeps my mind busy. So, just like doing these Saturday night live streams, I hope somebody will come out and say hey and join the club and bring some insight. Um, bring your questions along if you got any, and maybe I can answer them, maybe I can't. But I mean, it's a community thing more than anything. Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. I mean, things are tough for everybody right now, and they're not getting a whole lot easier. Um, the biggest thing that I fear right now is that, especially with uh, that latest fiasco that we had, that we waited forever to get it out of the sky. Um, I kind of look at, if we got hit with an EMP, there would be catastrophic loss of life, um, mainly from the airplanes crashing, because everything would go down and they wouldn't know what to do. And believe it or not, most of those planes are, once they're off the ground, the computer flies the plane. So the pilots don't have to do much. I mean, they just have to be there to maybe flip a switch or something like that. So if we got hit with an EMP and it took out the grid and everything else, as long as you can stay alive, um, there's going to be a lot of problems. Um, some of these places have backup generators that can run things. A lot of your grocery stores and hospitals and that kind of stuff will have backup generators. But my issue is, what happens when the fuel runs out? Most of that stuff is all electronic and computer controlled. So how do you get it out of the ground? And um, people without an electronic device or a phone anymore, most people will be lost. They wouldn't know how to operate the banking system. Everybody's money would be frozen. Um, and yet they're still wanting to do this cashless thing, which I think is the biggest mistake. That's why they came up with a cash currency. So, you know, they're wanting to get rid of the dollar, but what would you use to get goods and services, other than maybe trading stuff? I don't know how that would work. And to think, if it took out the electric grid, um, how how long would people survive without electricity? Granted, I've got a generator, but it runs on fuel. I mean, so if you can't get the fuel out of the ground to operate that generator, you're gonna uh, be like the Road Warrior movies, where the gasoline is like gold. I mean, that's what you use. So Jerry, I agree. America does have crime problems, and I think if we had a catastrophic failure like that, it would get really bad really fast. Um, I do a lot of praying and thinking about this kind of stuff, probably more so than I should. But in the same instance, I worry. My mom lives up home by herself, and you know, I I think she could probably do it for a while. But what about food and water? I mean, like I said, here I'm not too. I'm worried about it. Don't get me wrong. I've got enough fuel to last a little bit, but I mean, be able to run for extended periods of time, I don't know if it would happen. And I'd need something to keep food cold, and water I'm not too concerned with because I've got a well. Um, but there's going to be people out there that are less fortunate. So, oh yeah, Mike. I mean, I'm totally with you there. I just it it just makes you wonder, especially as bad as the world is looking right now, and that big old stunt that our freaking enemies across the pond pulled here the other day with those um, big helium filled domes with the solar panels on it, crossing the United States and waiting until it gets over water to blow it up. The mm, it's a bad deal, and you can't tell me that wasn't planned. I don't care what you say. That I mean, to me, that had to have been planned. That's just how I feel about it anyway. I'm sure there'll be something wrong with what I've said, and they'll probably take this video down, say it's misinformation. This is just what I've seen in my own analogy. It's not based on any kind of fact. Um, what's up, Doc? Yeah, you're never too late. But it is what it is. I just it's things that concern me. Maybe I worry too much, but in the same instance, I want to kind of be prepared in case something was happening. In fact, I'm to the point where I probably need to go get some more fuel in the cans just to be on the safe side, and fill them with some Stay-Bill so they stay, the fuel stays fresh for a while. Doc, we're just talking about just miscellaneous stuff. I was just talking about the recent events that we had that transpired with a certain flying object that was going across in our airspace way up high that we let kind of go over it. And the fact that I worry about if we got smacked with an EMP or if we had a cyber attack that took out our electrical system. Um, you know, you think the crime was bad then. Um, it'd get a whole lot worse. Oh yeah, and that's exactly the thought that I thought, Doc, was the fact that they did that and they look at how weak they look. I mean, now's an opportune time. I mean, that's not a good look because I honestly don't know how many people would stand up to something like that. Um, Mike, I haven't a clue how to do that. Yeah, I mean, we got to get rid of that fear part, uh, Doc, for sure. I would do what it takes to protect my family, but I don't know how long I could do it. Because if they gang up on me, of course, I've got nothing. I've got nothing there. I mean, I would do what I can, but that's kind of where I think uh, maybe looking into a solar generator. As much as I don't like all that stuff going on, that may be something that could help you survive. Um, or just having solar on the house. I mean, that way, if we lose power, at least off the grid, we'd have enough power to run the house and run the important things like the refrigerators and the freezers. Um, I think we've probably got a good 6 months worth of food that we've got stocked up that we could survive on, other than the dry stuff and the necessities. But I mean, we've got meat and we've got water. Doc, the only problem with propane on a generator is the fact that it takes way more propane to run a generator. There was a guy, I don't know if you ever watched him. He's pretty sparse when he's on YouTube anymore, but he's got a house up in the Panhandle, and they had a whole house generator put in that runs on propane, and he says it's unbelievable how much propane that generator uses, um, in relation to that versus a gas. I mean, it's just astronomically high. So they're not real efficient. The propane ones aren't. Ideally, if you had natural gas, I mean, that would be the obvious way to go because, I mean, unless they cut the natural gas supply off like they're trying to do, I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that. And of course, they're trying to ban gas stoves and just stupid crap. Uh, y'all ever had a verp? You know what a verp is? Yeah, I seen that, Mike. It's ridiculous. Well, Jerry, unfortunately, the reality is that if it's so much more economical to do it that way. And I told the wife if I was to go before her that that's the way I want to be done. I want to be cremated, and you can either keep the ashes or you know dump them in Table Rock Lake up north, uh, down in South Missouri. That was my favorite place to always be. I loved it up there. I agree, Doc. We are under attack, under you know, at all sides, and it's all part of the plan. I don't know if any of you guys watched that uh, ridiculous speech the other night. I know I didn't, but I because I just didn't want to listen to that clown speak. I mean, he's absolutely drives me nuts. Sugar, um, actually, absolutely drives me nuts. I thought uh, um, Huckabee Sanders' rebuttal speech was way better than supposedly what uh, this jackoff that we've got in office now was. Sorry if I'm kind of avoiding coming out straight, you know, saying the straight thing because I'm kind of avoiding maybe keywords that might be picked up. So right, yeah, Sarah's another strong governor, which is great. We need more of them. Um, Sugar. Um, what was that governor of Wyoming or Wisconsin? One of those two. Wyoming, I think it was. You know, coming up with that uh, bill that they basically don't want any EVs, and of course you got uh, Governor DeSantis, which he's done a heck of a job down here in Florida. There's a couple more governors that are standing up for it. And it's kind of funny. The ATF tried to introduce this bill ban on the uh, uh, arm guards on the short barrel rifles or something like that. And that thing, most of the sheriffs come around and say, when the ATF says you need to do it, and they're saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to ban that stuff. Murphy in New Jersey looks like he is not well. I haven't seen that, Doc. I may have, but I may not pay that close attention to it. I was looking for this hat earlier today, and here it was the whole time. A Star Motorcycle hat. Well, I look awful too, but at least I'm not looking dead. Might as well be some days. That's all I can say. I'm trying to look at the camera, guys, if you haven't tell, but the camera's on top of the monitor, and then I have to look over and look at what you guys are typing. So I'm sorry if I don't always look at the camera. I'm trying. Yeah, right, Mike. We've got this spot over on the bar over here, uh, to my left. It'd be your right if you're looking at me, probably, but um, we usually put our ball caps up there because we grab them when we take the dogs out or something like that. If it's raining, if we have to go take care of Rosario, so that's usually where they end up. For some reason, they ended up on my desk over here in the corner. I'm not surprised, Doc. Well, thanks, Jared, for watching the whole thing. Yeah, I caught that when I was going through the video the first time after I'd recorded. I was like, oh, I forgot to put that in there. So I had to take it back apart, put the return spring in there. Um, Sometimes it's a lot harder to record these videos than y'all might think, just for the fact that you have to be consciously, you can't stay totally zoned into what you're doing when you're doing the build because you're worried about explaining it the same way so you all can understand it. So sometimes the eye coordination with the mouth coordination with the hand coordination doesn't always work together. I mean, they don't always mesh. So sometimes you sit there and you have to go back and look at this. Did I do that? But then you go back and look at the video and like, oh, whoops. And instead of recording the whole thing over again, I just did it off camera and put it in there. Yeah, Jerry, if you put them on Facebook, I haven't seen them yet. I'm not really on Facebook as much as I used to be. Um, so yeah, yeah. You always want to do the roundy round with your belly too. It's not a straight thing. I mean, it's just kind of coordination. Some days I don't have much of it. It's just like when I was putting it, uh, struggling with that pump on this case a little bit. It was just really ticking me off. Um, Things don't always go according to plan sometimes, but you do your best at what you can do. So Oh, goodness gracious. I'm tired. Actually, kind of fell asleep on the couch last night, got up and did a little editing, and then went back to bed and just kind of slept kind of rough last night. I really need to get me a website up. Doc, I did not see the derailment in Ohio. I didn't hear anything about it. Apparently, it didn't pop up on a news feed that I'm on, but I haven't heard anything about it yet. I'm sure it'll pop up here for too long. But no, I did not see that one. My dad used to work for the railroad. He was a engineer. He designed rail yards and building improvements for the commercial use. He was a drafter. He was very smart, good with math, but he also had his locomotive license uh, to fill in if they had gone on strike or something like that. And he had to do that a couple of times. And he used to tell me stories. I wish he would have taken me on. I would have loved to go on the locomotive, but yeah, when those things derail, boy, they tear some stuff up for sure. They'll tear the ballast up, the rails up, the ties that they sit on. Um, yeah, they'll flat tear some stuff up for sure. Sure, you can share the link, Doc, if you want. Go right ahead. Some buttholes talking crap. A little bit. That was actually a quiet one for me. Usually they're quite a bit louder, but man, there's been some funny shorts on YouTube Short here lately. That's one I think it was on. Well, it was also on one of Facebook Shorts, but there was one last night that cracked me up. This, uh, I guess grandma's looking through some pictures on her phone and stuff like that, and the granddaughter's there, and she's got a hold of these two fake hands in her sweatshirt, and she's touching grandma with these things and like pointing at it and stuff like that. And grandma's oblivious to it, and I guess the mom's in the background just busting a gut laughing. And it was just so funny to watch this because they're just back and forth, and she's touching with these hands and these fake hands, these like plastic hands, and you can tell they're not proportionate to her body, so it just makes it even funnier. And the mom just laughing in the background, just hysterical. I laughed so hard. It was funny. I'm surprised the wife didn't get up and ask me what the hell was so funny out there, because it was really comical. Some of those are pretty good. There was one joke on there that I seen, that the family's in the kitchen. Dad's cooking dinner and daughter's doing something there, and let's see, how did that go? What does a blind gynecologist do? And the answer to it is he reads lips. God, the first time I seen that, because the daughter was like, "What?" and then she got it, and she'd like to die. It was funny. What's a blind gynecologist do? He reads lips. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was better to watch the short. It was just hysterical. What does a nearsighted gynecologist and a puppy have in common? Yeah, wet noses. Yeah, I heard that one the other day too. It was pretty funny. There's this one comedian that gets on there, and she talked about uh, how had to do with the underwear was stuck in a not normal spot, and so she goes, so instead of a so I guess they don't call that a wedgie, they call it a, and she kind of looked at, she says, it's called a veggie. Oh lordy. Hit one lip at a time. Yeah, I can't remember what this comedian's name, but she's pretty funny. She's been on there before. Yeah, it's been some really funny. I love seeing the funny ones. It's nice to have something that's not all serious doom and gloom and stuff like that. Something to get you really gut laughing. It's just great, and it's good for your health too. You need a good gut laugh for sure. Um, Makes things a heck of a lot better. Brightens your day. And the other one is this guy's got this skeleton doll or something like that, and he calls his wife Pooks, and he usually he's real loud on his entrance. Hey, Pooks! And of course she screams, and then he asks a joke, and it's just the reactions are just hysterical. If you could tell, my eyes are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Excuse me. As I'm getting tired and more tired and more tired. I'm waiting for the Indianapolis 500 race once again. Oh, yeah. Indy 500. Speaking of which, I'm not trying to promote Cletus or anything, but they're doing the Danger Ranger something or other, but it's going to be at Bristol on the dirt. And that ought to be a hoot. And of course, he's got his big Crown Vic race coming up again. It's crazy. You know, one thing I could say about the engines they put in those things, they held up pretty good. A lot better than this crap we got out there now. I don't know what they've got going on with these 6.2s that we've got, these late model trucks and stuff. They're just not holding together. Spun bearings just falling apart. Yes, Vice Grip Garage is going, as far as I know. I think he's going to do sick week for sure, but I don't know. He may not go. He may not go to the big one. Yeah, Indy 500's a big race for sure. Boy, tomorrow's football game is going to be a good one. Chiefs and Eagles. We'll see if we can pull off a W in that one. Chiefs, of course. When Price Chopper used to sponsor the Chiefs, it was always Chiefs and Chopper, Chiefs and Chopper, Chiefs and Chopper, Price Chopper. That was the name of a grocery store chain that they had up there that was, we loved going there. That was a good place. Anyway. Well, y'all, I'm gonna cut this one short because my eyes are about to close and I'll be snoring on in the mic here. So I am going to call it a night. Um, thank you all for everybody that joined. Um, I hope you remember to take care of your loved ones, uh, especially the older generation. You know, give them a big squeeze and a hug, and tell them you love them, tell them you're thinking about them. But until next week, everybody have a good night. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. God bless you, and God bless America. Bye bye.